What is up, guys? Yellow Gamer here, and today we're going to talk NBA 2K. I'm sure you guys are already aware of this. That's probably why you guys clicked on the video, but personally, I've played a lot of NBA 2K over the years, ever since 2K11. In fact, I've probably played countless hours, days, and months possibly of NBA 2K throughout the years, and there's a lot of changes, especially as I get older and I get more aware of like game mechanics and how they could be really improved in this game. There's a few things I've really noticed and things that I really want to outline, with the hopes obviously that 2K makes some changes. So hopefully you guys are going to join this bandwagon with me and feel the same need for some of these changes, and hopefully with that we can try to make an effort so 2K is aware of what the players want, because obviously that's who the customers are. That's who they need to be trying to make the game better for, because we're the ones buying the game. But regardless, I'm going to try to make this not a rant video, because it easily could turn into that. So let's just focus primarily on different things that can be done. So first off, I'm going to start by talking about gameplay, and then we're going to go and talk about each of the specific game modes and some improvements that can be made in each of those specific game modes. But gameplay will tie into some of those game modes, obviously, because the gameplay ties into the game modes. Regardless, gameplay things that need to be fixed. Now, there's so many things that could be said and done about this. Now, I'm just going to talk about things that have bothered my personal experience. Now, other people have had different experiences. They've had different problems with the game. But a lot of my problems with this game ties in a lot to Mycareer. So how about while we talk about gameplay, I'm going to talk about my Mycareer players as well. For me personally, I created a slasher and a sharpshooter in this game. My slasher is currently a 96 overall. My sharpshooter is currently a 92. So needless to say, these players should be pretty talented players. Regardless of all that though, if you guys watched a video by Agent 00, he created a video where he discussed that even if you max out your player in Mycareer, if you put that in the actual creative player in NBA 2K, your player maxes out like an 84 overall. The game just tells you it's a different overall. So rather than having it actually be Mycareer, it's more like you're playing my role player, because you'll never actually create a super talented legend like you want to create. That's the whole point of creating Mycareer. And I understand the whole archetype system. I don't necessarily disagree with the premise of it, but it could have been executed so much better. It doesn't even feel like there's necessarily a point in being an archetype in this game. And when I say that, my 96 overall slasher, there's situations where yes, I can posterize a dude. I can be put in sick animations, but I have like 94, 90, something like 94 driving layup. I think it's somewhere right around there. And I'll take a heavy drive into the paint. I'm like 6'8", 270, so my guy's a big boy. I drive into the paint. There's one defender down there, down low on the paint, and I have a very slight contact layup, and you brick it. You chuck it off the rim, you lay it off the side of the backboard. It just doesn't work, which makes no sense, because if we're going to be aware about these things, if you're as big as LeBron and you have 94 driving layup, subtle contact inside the paint is not going to affect your shot. You're an NBA level finisher, and you're like based off that stat, you should be one of the best finishers in the whole entire NBA. There is no excuse for a guy not to be able to finish simplistic layups. Because of that, I feel like in this game I've had to create all these different moves. I gotta do Euro steps, spin moves, hop steps. I gotta do all this crazy shit just to even get a chance of the ball going in. And although that's realistic to an extent, if I have just the speed and the burst to fly by a defender, and I'm one-on-one with a little guy in the paint, and I'm like 3 inches taller, and my person's a great finisher, unless they get a very good contest and they have great defensive skills, which is very few players in my career, because most people don't make defensive specialists, I should be making that shot just about 95 to 100% of the time, like a real level NBA finisher. That's the slasher part of the things that are bothering me. In terms of being a sharpshooter, what's bothered me the most is, first off, the jump shot. The whole idea of jump shots has been bothering me, and the reason I say that is because if you watch, there's so many videos on YouTube. I'm sure if you guys play Mycareer, you've done this. There's a lot of videos utilizing the jump shot creator where people are telling you how to make a jump shot where it will go in. Do you realize how retarded that is? Like, how you have to literally Google search a jump shot that will go in. That should not be the case. Any jump shot should work at the same effectiveness as the other ones, as long as you understand how to use it. The reason I say that is there's people who've had awful jump shots in the NBA, and there's people who've had perfect jump shots in the NBA. However you want to characterize perfect, but they still could go in at the same effective rate if you learn your own jump shot. I mean, Lonzo Ball, I'm not trying to jump on this bandwagon, but that dude's a top 3, top 5 pick, obviously, in the draft. He's number 2 in mock drafts. Everybody who knows him understands that his jump shot is a big concern to a lot of NBA scouts and GMs because obviously the fundamentals and mechanics on it are a bit off. But it goes in. He shot, I think, somewhere about 42% from the line, or from the 3-point line, in college, and that's a phenomenal shooting percentage, especially as a freshman in college. That's phenomenal. Or you could look at somebody like Klay Thompson, who a lot of people consider to have a very fundamentally sound jump shot, and he shoots the ball at a phenomenal rate as well. And so what I'm trying to say is it shouldn't matter the release, okay? You should be able to shoot however you want to shoot. Hell, you can go Rick Barry free throw style and granny shot it if you want to. If you have the timing and the understanding of how to shoot that ball, if you're an NBA level player, especially an NBA level sharpshooter, why do you have to create a specific jump shot just for it to work? Like the mind process, it hurts my brain to think that you need to cheat a jump shot for it to go in. The game should not work that way. Also, in terms of shooting, like I want to mention, obviously modern day basketball is a shooting driven league. The majority of the top notch teams will be 3-point shooters. Of course, there's some teams out there that still play bully ball like they used to, but with the way the game's been, the way that fouls have been created and things like that, really the most effective way to win games is to have a 3-point shooting squad. And obviously the Cavaliers and Warriors characterize that by obviously both them meeting up in the finals. Now you can say that's due to a bevy of reasons, but obviously 3-point shooting is a big largely associated with their success. Anyways, the point I'm trying to get to is there's a lot of things that need to be fixed about shooting, especially in a shooting driven league. A lot of people want to be able to shoot the ball phenomenally. That's why I've seen a lot of sharpshooters in this game. A lot of people wanted to be sharpshooters, and they ruined it for them because the game does not work with sharpshooters very well. And a big reason for that is with my sharpshooter, I'll go into Pro-Am, and any closeout defense on your jump shot will completely affect it. In real life, if you're a guy like Kyle Korver, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, I don't know, you can say Kyrie Irving, there's phenomenal sharpshooters all across the NBA. Like, I just named 4. There's tons. If you're a phenomenal jump shooter, and if you're a sharpshooter and you max out your 3-point rating, you should be a phenomenal jump shooter. Closeout defense should not be significantly affecting your shot. It shouldn't. If you're an NBA level sharpshooter and you get a person to close out, and you guys probably know what closeout defense is, when you shoot the ball and towards the end of your shot, there's a person running up to you. If you're a top-notch 3-point shooter, that might affect your shot a few percentile points. However, in NBA 2K, if you have that same closeout defender coming at you, it feels like your shooting percentage goes from 40 to 50% to 10 to 20. It's like a significant drop-off. It's like significant, and it's so noticeable. So unless you manage to find a way to get your sharpshooter open for multiple seconds at a time, or if you use the fastest jump shot in history and somehow perfect it, you are never going to be a top-notch sharpshooter in Pro-Am. Now, I've seen people drop 70, 80 points. I've seen it happen. But you got to work off screens. You got to do all this crazy stuff just to have a chance at an open shot. And all I'm saying is it should be a little bit easier for you to get a shot off, and it should not have such a significant drop-off when you're having closeout defense. Another thing I want to mention is blocking in this game is stupid. There's times where I'll time a perfect block and my guy jumps in the wrong direction. Understandably, you're not always going to get a block even with perfect timing. That happens. You may not be the best defender. Your guy shouldn't jump in the opposite direction of the ball, though, and I've seen that happen far too often. It doesn't make any sense. It hurts your brain to watch it. It's awful game mechanics. There's so many other ones that are bad too, like people dribbling off the feet happens a lot. If you spam the steal button when somebody gets a rebound, you're more often than not going to jack it from them. If you're charging the paint or driving in the paint and you have a guy with a decent steal, he'll strip the ball from you every single time. I've had to experience that a ton of times on my slasher as well, getting stripped every single time I attack the basket. And these are just a few of the major gameplay issues that can be fixed. These are just the ones that have caused me the most frustration, and just been the most annoying. Now, there's other things that could be fixed, but they're not a big enough deal to make me not want to buy the game. These ones almost made me want to sell the game because they were just so annoying. And if they were fixed, I could only imagine how fun this game would be to play. If they just fixed some simple mechanics that could, honestly, I think with just a little bit of work, it could easily be fixed. But I feel like, I'm trying not to rant here, 2K is not focusing on these things enough. So that's just gameplay. That's 10 minutes of me just talking about gameplay. Now let's go into game modes. These should not be as long but primarily the one obviously that needs to be fixed the most is Mycareer. And as I mentioned, archetypes need to be fixed. And some ideals on how archetypes can be fixed is rather than just running a one archetype system, run a system where you could run two archetypes. You know, one archetype is in the 90s, one archetype's in the 80s. Run one where you could be, you know, build your player after another player type of thing. People talk. I actually saw a comment that said that, and I thought that was a great idea. But everybody said, "Oh, everybody would choose to be Kevin Durant because he's the most unfairly talented player in the league." Well, that's okay. I mean, everybody chose to be Kevin Durant, and there's no real benefit to everybody being it because you're just gonna be playing against another Kevin Durant. And the truth is, you'll probably have fun doing it. Like, let's be honest. If everybody's playing like Kevin Durant, you'd probably have some fun. In all honesty, just like I would have fun. I love Kyrie Irving's game. If I could have his handles and his shot, I would love playing this game. I would play this game every single day. And I would go into Pro-Am and try to cross somebody up literally every single chance I got. That would be so fun to play like that. So I don't see any complaints with that idea either. Obviously, you can minimize it if they're being the top-notch players like Kevin Durant. You can minimize him so they can't be quite as good because that could be a little bit overpowered. But there's easily changes that could be made to create players like that. And there's a lot of archetype systems that could be made too. Just more specific ones rather than just a sharpshooter be like athletic sharpshooter. That kind of fits in the same mold as the two archetype system, but you shouldn't. No NBA superstar is great at only one thing. There isn't one. You cannot name me one superstar that is only good at one thing in the game because it's not possible. You can't just be dominating at one thing and then still be a superstar. Because it just doesn't work that way. The game doesn't work that way. So I'm just saying that could easily be fixed. That could easily make the gameplay a lot better for those of us who are huge Mycareer fans. I'm sure that's most of the 2K community. That's the most popular game mode. So the next most popular game mode that I know of is probably Myteam. I know Myteam's a big deal, and I love Myteam. I'll be honest, I've loved playing Myteam this year. And that's just because I love the gameplay, and I just do a lot of work. I've always been a domination person. I always go for the 99 stars in domination and historic domination. In fact, this year I did it all in like 1 or 2 days. So I really know life that. And so I'm well aware of all the things of domination. Now, I like a lot of parts of it, okay? So I do like the challenge system. I do like the weekly challenges, daily challenges when they put them out. I like I obviously like domination, and I obviously like the system. Right? I don't really like the system, but I like the system of playing people online, but I think it could be better. I wish there was more of a playoff foundation in it. The Ultimate Team in Madden has like a playoff system once you reach a certain point of wins. And I don't know. I think it'd be cooler if it feels like you're playing an NBA Finals game. I just think that whole entire bracket system could be, a little bit better rather than you just feeling like you're playing games and there's no like real incentive to play it, and unless you win 10 games and you get like a diamond shoe or something. Unless you do that, which the majority of people can't, because most of us aren't that great at the game to just absolutely sweep through an entire league. Everybody's gonna have a bad game at 2K every once in a while. I feel like they can make that a little bit more fun. I don't know. Just playing the game is fun, but there could be like a better. How do I even explain it? There could just be a better gameplay environment for it. I wish that could be easily, more easily explained, but I just know that there could be a better environment that incentivizes people to play that more, rather than it feeling kind of monotonous in gameplay. Also, the Myteam market needs to be fixed. The Myteam market needs to be fixed. So, when I say that, that's because I feel like there needs to be an incentive again to actually buy packs in this game. So I think two things need to be done, and it's going to be tough to find this balance because it's not how the economy works. There's a supply and demand economy, right? But I think you should be able to increase the amount of players that could, above average players that people get. You don't need to always get legends, but players should be able to pull an above average player. Rudy Gay, Gordon Hayward. You should be able to pull those players every once in a while, more commonly than you do, and they should cost more money. What I don't like about this game is. What I don't like about that market system is, let's say a pack costs 7,500 Myteam points. Well, more likely than not, you're going to get a silver player, like 73 overall. Well, for 7,500 points nowadays, you could get like a 90 overall player. So there's no incentive anymore. Even towards the beginning of the game, you can get like a Steph Curry was like 3K, and he's way better than most likely anybody you're going to pull in that pack. So why not just build your team around some 3K Ruby players until you have the opportunity to buy, to buy top-notch players like the Sapphires and all of them. It just there wasn't any incentive to buy packs. I don't think I bought more than 2 packs like this whole entire game because there was no reason to. You can't ever get the most amazing team if you don't open packs, because you'll never get like one of those Michael Jordan pulls. But it feels like, excuse me, it feels like you never get those anyways. My pack luck has been awful. Over the hundreds of packs I've opened in the past 3 years, I almost like never pull a player where I lose my shit. And I think that should happen a bit more often. People are dropping hundreds of dollars into this game to buy packs, and they will get nothing. I just watched another video. Somebody did like a $500 pack opening. Now think about that, $500. For a lot of us, if you're working minimum wage, that's almost your whole entire paycheck. That's like, if you're, you know, for me, that's like an entire paycheck. If I drop $500 into the game, I expect to get some shit in return. Like, I have that mindset. But when you pull, the best player you pull is a 92 overall, and that player sells for 30,000 Myteam points, you just paid $500 for like 90,000 Myteam points. What's the incentive to do that? If somebody's paying $500, like, give them a chance to get something decent. And not just decent, but like great. You just got $500. That's somebody paid $8 worth the game just to try to pull one player. It just, so some of it's just frustrating. I've never done this. I've never spent $500, but I've seen people do it, and I can only imagine how frustrating it is. I'm frustrated when I just spend $20 and I get nothing even relatively decent. So when somebody spends $100, I can only imagine the frustration for that player. It would be extremely annoying. I could only imagine. So I think the market system and packs and majority of that needs to be fixed. But the general concept of it is still makes it amazing. I still love the idea of building your team and playing with it. But if they made more of an incentive to open packs and pull legendary players and made it a bit more common to pull great players, I think people would have a lot more fun. Of course, it'd be tough to find that supply and demand balance because obviously we are the ones who create the market. But I don't know. I think they could just fix it a little bit more in that sense. Continuously, the last thing that we could really discuss now at this point is the whole MyLeague and Mygm. And truthfully, I haven't had a lot of complaints with this one. I like that they added a lot of improvements in last year. The idea that you could change sliders, you can change all this stuff. Once you find a nice slider set, the actual simulations and gameplay and all that stuff improves a lot. There's a lot of things that I like a lot once you work on some sliders and find the right tuning for you. It's a lot of fun. It is. I think that's probably one of the most updated and well-rounded features they have in this game. And that's kind of why I'm more disappointed than anything else, is because I like Mycareer and Myteam more than MyLeague. And I haven't had much incentive to play it because I didn't like it that much. I like the concept a lot more, but I didn't like the gameplay more than MyLeagues and Mygms. So, in MyLeague, my primary concern is I've done rebuilds. I have a rebuild series that I'm currently in the middle of. And in the midst of doing that rebuild, there's some games that make no sense. Like, I'll get to the playoffs, and I'll see LeBron get swept by the 8th seed 76ers. Now, I understand that there's got to be upsets, there's got to be some random things to occur. There will never be a day in history where LeBron with Kyrie and Kevin Love and that current Cavaliers roster will lose to the 76ers in a sweep in the next year. It won't happen. Just like I see them get swept by the Raptors. I don't know one person on the Raptors organization that could stop LeBron from dropping 30 every single game, as well as feeding the ball to other players so they could drop 20 to 30 points. So the Raptors will never beat the Cavaliers with their current roster setup. I see it happen all the time in MyLeague simulations, just like I'll see the Warriors get swept by the Utah Jazz. And these teams aren't bad teams, but the Jazz will never sweep or even win more than 2 games in a series against the Warriors in this year. It obviously didn't happen. They wouldn't have had a chance. It shouldn't happen in the sim. The sim should have some realism to it. There should be some upsets, but they shouldn't be drastic to that extent, like to the point where they make no sense. That's my biggest issue with that. So outside of that, I'm trying to think of other things that can be fixed. I know personally that I'm going to make probably another video on this, but I like the way NBA Live looks a lot. It's one of those things where it could be a smoke screen. You could be looking at it and thinking it's a lot better than it actually is based off, obviously they've had some videos and trailers that make it look really good. But I'm going to make a video probably talking about whether you should buy 2K or Live if you only had $60 to spend, which game to buy. I'll try to make a video discussing both the pros and cons of each of the games. All I'm saying is, with the way NBA Live is looking, there's a chance that 2K could be losing a lot of its money in the next year. And not just people buying it, but people won't spend nearly as much money as Myteam on Myteam and all that things if they have a better basketball game to play. It just wouldn't happen. So for the sake of Myteam, I know you guys are worried about your money. I know you're worried about making a good game. Listen to some of these ideas. I swear they will help. There's so many other wishes that I could have. For example, I would love it if you could somehow make a Mycareer that was online so you could play with other friends. That would be the coolest thing ever. I think that would be the greatest update in history. Obviously, there couldn't be a storyline if you did that, but I surely wouldn't mind that either. Just like that, in Mycareer, I believe that your players should determine the story. The story shouldn't determine the player. That's been a huge issue for me too with the storylines in Mycareer. That's something I should have discussed. So build a story around the player. Don't build a player around the story. That's the premise of me and Mycareer and how I feel about that. It wasn't quite as drastic as it was in the previous years where that dude drove your fucking car off a cliff. What was his name? Like Basquiat. That was your friend. He had a different name, but the dude he took your car then drove it off a cliff. The dude was a dickhead. So just like fix these things. I swear there'd be so much improvements if 2K did this. I would have so much more fun playing the game. I'm sure there's a lot of other gameplay things that you guys want to have fixed. Comment them down below. I might make another video discussing all your guys' personal changes. Because I'm sure I can easily get 10 more minutes of changes that can be made for the betterment of the next game, just based off your guys' ideas. Next off, just try to like and make this video as out there as possible so I can try to persuade 2K just a little bit for just one of these changes. I would love them to just listen to some of these ideas, and hopefully you guys feel the same way. Regardless, if you guys enjoyed this, please like the video. Make sure to comment your opinion of this idea and other ideas that could obviously fuel 2K18 to be a better game. And subscribe if this is your first video on this channel and you liked it. Subscribe. I do a lot of 2K, a lot of MLB, even some Madden once that comes out. So if you guys are into all that stuff, just subscribe and maybe you guys will enjoy some of my content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.